Greetings YouTube, and welcome to my latest weapons build. A while back I made a mace with 4 hinges. Now the problem is I really should have only used 2. 4 of them is just way too heavy. I haven't removed those from that project. I probably will at some point, but I'm going to use these 2 here, which are FBB179 made in USA. I have no idea what that means, but they're big, heavy, chunky hinges, and that's what I care about today. So what I want to do is put a hinge like this, and then have the other hinge on top going the opposite way. So what you end up with is essentially a flanged mace. So you'll have these flanges going in those directions and those flanges going in the other 2 directions. And I'm going to be using this 3/8 inch threaded rod to make fasteners because I like the scale as far as it goes for this type of I just like the scale of the threading to the baluster, and this is all free. I got this at work for nothing. We were throwing a piece of equipment out, and I asked the guy, one of the bosses, I said, "Hey, can I have these threaded rods?" He said, "Yep." So I took them off. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask, because you can get free stuff real easy. So I'm going to need to drill holes in these, however, because you'll notice the holes here don't line up with this thing, and I want to get holes that are in the middle. So I'm going to need to put 2 holes here, and that's the 3/8 inch, so they're going to end up having to be 3/8 inch in diameter. And I'm hoping I can drill those just straight as 3/8 inch holes. We're going to find that out, because otherwise I'll have to drill them as a smaller diameter and then open them up. But this is pretty chunky, so I would prefer to get it through in one shot. I don't know how hard it is, though. I don't know what the hardness on this type of steel is, so we're going to find out if that's going to work or not. And I like the scale to this, because I think when I went to get the other one, because I'm going to put a little 45-degree point on top, so that's about the scale you're going to. This is going to be roughly where it is now, and the other one will be the opposite direction. And the fasteners, of course, will add more impact points as well. So it's a pretty low entry point project as far as the skill levels. Drilling holes in this, and cutting and modifying these slightly. So the entry point for as far as skill goes is not high. So this is a good project for someone that doesn't have a lot of equipment in their shop. And again, I don't have a lot of equipment in my shop either. I have some specialty things, but I have a workbench with a couple of vices. This is a Mills Falls V-line vise. Those craftsmen did make their own version of this. I think this is the perfect thing for a person just starting out in their own shop, because you can move it anywhere you want to move it. It'll hold vertical or horizontal very easily. It's a really wonderful device. I use it mostly as clamping to hold things in place while I'm working on them. Very, very handy. When I want to do heavy duty stuff, I put it here in my big vise. I do have a drill press, but drill presses are not horribly expensive. I don't know what I paid for this anymore, but it's just a tabletop version. I really want a full horsepower standing drill press. That would make me very, very happy. One with like a variable speed, so I wouldn't have to change the belts, because I hate changing the belts. It's a pain in the butt. So I basically sit at the lowest RPM and I work with it. And having one with a much bigger table would also make my life easier if I had a nice 20-inch drill press. But I don't have one of those. I do have a grinder and a belt sander, but the belt sander is wicked cheap. It's Harbor Freight, so that's not hard to get. I do have a metal chop saw. That is a piece of specialty equipment. I freely admit it. And I do have a shop vacuum. Not expensive. I paid $10 for that at a thrift shop. So some of the things you need for these projects are not going to be difficult to acquire, and not going to be difficult to have in a garage shop, basically, even though mine is slightly more specialized, and I am in the deep, dark bowels of the basement. All right, so first thing I need to do is I'm going to need to drill these so I can figure out the exact placement for the holes in this. This is more important. Worry about the metal cutting. Marking and drilling holes in wood is wicked easy. But making the holes in the steel, that's the tricky part. So first I'm going to do a bunch of layout. So I have all the holes drilled, and hey, I only drilled one incorrectly. because it occurred to me as I'm drilling, I drilled these two, those are right, and I drilled this one, I'm like, hey, those are going to interfere with each other. That one's got to be in the middle. So you'll have 2 bolts going this way, 1 bolt going that way. This one I did correctly, so 2 bolts going this way, 1 bolt going that way. That's 3 bolts to hold this hinge on. It's not going anywhere. And I have already laid out the holes, marked the holes here. I have to put some marks in the center. Then I have to drill the holes out. Sadly, I don't think I may have a brad point bit. I may have a 3/8 inch brad point bit. I gotta check, because that would be better than using a standard drill bit, and I'll get a better result that way. And I was lucky, and I was able to use a 3/8 inch bit straight away, and that fits just fine. No problem whatsoever. So that's cool as well. It means I don't have to do the whole process of drilling it and then opening it up again. Because this, again, is pretty chunky. Oh, and there is a name on here. I didn't realize it. Stanley. These are Stanley USA hinges that I'm butchering and turning into something completely different. And I don't remember where I got these. Probably at an estate sale or something. Again, I pick up hinges like this when I can find them, because I know that eventually I will find a use for them. I actually have a use. I used one of these upstairs in my office. If any folks have ever watched my videos and seen a cat jump into the window behind me, they are sitting on a shelf, and that shelf is held up by one of these, which is probably strong enough to hold me. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to build something, overbuild it. It's sort of my philosophy when it comes to weapons design too. If you're going to kill something, overkill it. That's why my designs are often kind of on the beefy side. So now I got to get a pit out and set up some marks on these, and then start drilling some holes. So I did have a spade bit, made my life a little bit easier, in 3/8 inch. Unfortunately, we had a bit of an issue. See this right here? Specifically, see that right there? That's supposed to be attached to that, and this is supposed to be here. Yeah, this is the spring that gave me resistance, so that when you let go of the handle on the drill, it would go up as opposed to falling down because of the weight of the drill mechanism, the head. So at the moment, it's being held in place with a piece of cord, and it still functions as a drill. It just doesn't function as a drill that I can now use with one hand, because I have to make sure that it's clamped in place very securely before I can then take that off, turn it on, and then drill the hole. So I got to find one of these. So I'm going to see if I can find some replacement parts online. But until then, yeah, I'm not in a real happy spot in my life at the moment. Not real thrilled about this. I mean, if I could bend that to look like that, I could make this. I could probably reuse this, but I don't have any ability to bend that to that. This is literally spring steel. It's very hard. Not figuratively spring steel, literally spring steel. So kind of bummed about that. Yeah, not happy. Not happy at all. Alright, now I got to start cutting up some 3/8 inch rod so I can make my fasteners. So here we have all my fasteners, and all of this hardware were salvaged from the free rods I got. And these darker ones were actually not from the lot you saw on the table, but they were still from the same group of free rods I got. I didn't feel like taking that green tape off them today. At some point in the future I'll do that. Today was not that day. So now I have to just do the final assembly, and then we'll hopefully have a functional device. Let's see what happens. And here we have the final weapon. I did chamfer the handle, as I often do with, I pretty much always do with my baluster weapons, because it makes it much more comfortable in the hand. I thins it out down here at the base. And the balance on this is pretty decent. Right here, the balance is it's just perfect. It makes this thing very lively in the hand. Obviously, this is a two-handed weapon, but just carrying it like that, it is very comfortable in the hand. And as you can see, it has many, many, many pointy things on it, going in all different directions. Now, technically, I could have put points on both ends of these things. That's a pain in the butt. It really is. And because once you do that, and getting the bolts and getting the fasteners in place is a pain, because now you have to make sure when you're tapping them in place, you're using a block or something, so you're not harming the tips. And I've got these edges. I got these edges in the other direction, so I'm pretty much just considering all of these to be working together. The points go in one direction, the flanges go in the other, and the whole thing becomes very, 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 very dangerous and wonderfully shiny. I really like how shiny how this thing is. So this, I'm just going to be calling this my Mark II hinge mace. Nothing in particular interesting. If anybody has a better idea for a name, just drop me a note down below in the comments section. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that you also follow me on DeviantArt and Instagram. On DeviantArt is the permanent home of all my builds, and on Instagram I post pictures of bargains and salvage and sneak previews, and of course cute cat pictures. And who doesn't love a good cute cat picture? So now to go outside and get some stills, and then I'll be done with this video, and I hope that you will come back for the next one.